Okay, welcome everyone to another Maple video. So in today's video, I just wanted to have a chat about some of the things that have been going on recently, because there have been a number of major updates in a few different areas across the game. Some of them good, some of them bad, and some of them where I don't really know exactly where I stand on them. But yeah, so in the past week or so, probably about week, 2 weeks, they've announced a Miracle Time coming up in about a week's time. So as I'm recording this on the 24th of July. So the Miracle Time is being done a little bit differently this time around. So they're allowing you to sign up for a specific day. So I'll get into that in the video, as well as talking about the update in the patch notes for version 0.224. Which saw the removal of cubes from bosses. So I thought this was something good to talk about, because I've made a lot of videos on cubing just with those boss drops, not spending money trying to do like a free-to-play angle on it. And I thought it was funny that I actually relied quite heavily on those cubes to progress some gear on pretty much my two side characters, where I didn't want to spend any meso on cubes or real money on an X to buy cubes. So I thought I'd talk about my feelings around that and just the concern that comes from that, because it is following a pattern which we've seen recently in regards to just becoming more aligned with KMS. And look, it's a game that's run by them, so ultimately GMS doesn't have the ultimate say over everything. But yeah, it's just a little bit concerning. But yeah, so this video will probably run for about 10 minutes, I'd say. There won't be much happening on the actual screen, so you can just go about doing whatever you normally do while you watch my videos. I'll just have some content up just from just different random things over the past little while. But yeah, so first thing I'll jump into is the update on version 0.224. So there was an emergency maintenance on the 23rd of July, and I'll quote directly from the memo that they put up in regards to removal of cubes from bosses. So they say, "We believed that this change would lower the hurdle to obtaining these items by allowing players to obtain them while training in maps where elite monsters and elite champions appear frequently. Our goal was to increase the accessibility of items, as well as to provide better experiences through future boss reward revamps." So there has been talk of them revamping the boss rewards to, I guess, give you a better experience. But essentially they were taking the cubes away from bosses and not giving us anything in return. And the drop rate, keep in mind, from the elite mobs and champions was very, very low. So in the first initial testing, people found that it took a long time to get at least a single cube from these bosses, and yeah, it was certainly a disadvantage to the players. So they decided, they kept a close eye on players' feedback after the update went out, and then they decided to review the decision and remove, revert back to what it was before version 224. So I have done some bossing on my Corsair, and I did get a Master Craftsman cube from two of the bosses. So I did the CRA ones, I think I got two from Von Bon and Clown or whatever. But I wasn't wearing any drop rate, so there wasn't any effect in that. Again, it's just concerning that they just do this rather than checking the community beforehand to see what people's feedback would be prior to doing it, because all they're doing is just harming themselves here. And I know that there's a whole bunch of whales out there who support the game by itself, and the free-to-play players are just there along for the ride. They don't really value that much in Nexon's eye. But yeah, it's the sort of thing where they really should be checking before they just roll out something like that. So that's, yeah, it was affecting me, because not that I'm really just going to absolutely dry up in terms of cubes. I'd just be crafting them instead, or using red cubes and black cubes from the mesa that I make. But it's more about those new incoming players where you're just creating extra hurdles where you don't need hurdles. To stop them from being able to cube their gear. All you're trying to do is encourage them to spend money on the game on cubes instead. Which, yes, it's a free-to-play game, but people should really have multiple avenues to choose from, not just a pay-to-win method. And the other issue with it is that they are constantly taking ground in different areas of the game and then relenting a little bit, giving us back a little bit of it, but in the end it's still a big portion gain for them, where, you know, they changed something too drastically, people didn't like it, and they've reverted it back, kind of. So they've reverted this change back to what it was, except it's like 20 or 30% less as good as what it was, or around that from what they're saying. But people have different opinions of the rates that they're getting, but at the same time they've still benefited from this because they've made this change. It's not as drastic as they made it out to be in the first place, but they've still made a change for them in the better, where they've taken a portion of these cubes, like access, away from players. So I'll go into the next one, being the Miracle Time, because I think it's unfortunate that they tied it so closely together. Even though Master Craftsman and Meister Cubes don't affect items during this double Miracle Time, it's only from Cash Shop cubes. You can still use these cubes to rotate through stats once you've hit that higher tier. So what I tend to do quite a lot is I might use something like a red cube or a black cube to tier something up to legendary, and then I'll use a Meister cube to scroll through the stats until I hit something that's actually decent, and then I might black cube it from there. So Meister cubes can play quite a pivotal role in it, and to take them away around the time that they announce a Miracle Time, which we haven't seen for probably about a year now. Not to mention that they had a massive sale on a month or two ago where people would have dropped a lot of Maple points, thinking that Miracle Times were dead and weren't coming back. It just, again, it's very poor on their side. And they really could benefit from having some sort of community forum that they could check things with before doing these sorts of things. But that's just what tends to be the reaction when they do stuff like this. So yeah, there's been a long list of things that they've done over the past year or two, probably even longer, and people are just falling off the game more and more. And it's unfortunate. Going to the way that they've set up the Miracle Time, it will be interesting to see how everything works. I've elected to do it on the 31st of July because it's a weekend and I don't want the added stress of trying to fit in a specific time to do something during the week when I've got work and things like that. It'll be interesting to see how the servers cope. I think Saturday will be busy, so I am keeping an open mind in terms of having a little bit of difficulty. I'm not sure whether I'm going to actually spend any real money. I have some Meso to convert into Maple points to buy cubes, but I don't think it'll be as much as I want. I don't really feel like putting money into the game. I think I've actually gone this whole year so far without spending any real money on NX, which I'm quite happy with. I'm quite happy that I've just stayed away from doing that. I haven't taken any breaks from the game, so it's not like I'm just avoiding it. I'm more just playing the game in a more sensible way, I feel, where I'm just doing things that I'm happy with. I don't feel like I need to spend money on the game. I did have that little asterisk next to the reasoning and not wanting myself to buy an X, where I was more like, well, if a Miracle Time comes along, then maybe that might be different. So I might spend $50 or something like that. I'll think about it over the next week, closer to it, and decide whether it's for me or not. But yes, it will certainly be interesting to see how it all works. So be sure to sign up for it beforehand if you are considering participating. It's certainly something along the lines of what I was thinking they should do. I was more thinking that you could just make it for the whole day and give out a sort of like ticket to go to a room for an hour, or just like an event space where you can just go in there for an hour and do what you need to do, to try and free up, not focusing so much on every those given time slots. But yeah, it'll certainly be interesting to see how that works. So then when it comes to the overall thing, for me, I'm wanting to step back a little bit. I'm kind of losing focus in terms of training. I think I mentioned it in the video previously last week, where I just said I felt like I'd given myself a little bit too much to do. I will do some bossing videos on the Jet. It's certainly at a point now where I believe I can do a lot of the CRA bosses, Hard Magnus, Chaos Sachem, things like that, and then put that out. And I will be using some level up potions that are in the current event. But as to actually training it up to 250, it'll certainly get there, but I don't think it'll get there as quickly as I was wanting it to. But yeah, so I'll try and do a Maple video once a week, but at the moment I'm not feeling like I want to leave, but I'm just feeling like I want to take a bit of a break. So I figure I'll do this Miracle Time, I'll see how I go. There's about 5 items that I want to work on. I want to work on the Jet secondary, I want to work on the 2 mechanical hearts, the Meister ring, and I think the bonus potential lines on the new gun. And then that's pretty much where I want to leave it. I know I was saying I did want to make a Meso set, but I'm kind of questioning whether I need to actually worry about that at all if I'm not going to be training that much. I think what I'm going to look to do is just do weekly bosses on the Xenon, Jet, and Corsair, and just use the money that I get from there to do a little bit of upgrading, because if I'm not going to be putting the hours into grinding, there isn't much sense in making more Meso gear at this time. But yeah, so that's where I'm going to leave this one. What did you guys think of the things that have happened over the last week or two? It's certainly interesting to gauge people's reaction on Reddit. I know that Reddit doesn't speak for the whole of the game, but it's certainly interesting to see the sorts of things that people are saying, and it'll be interesting to see if the game does sort of dip in popularity. But yeah, we'll see how things go, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.